I just want to say a very warm welcome to this brand new edition of Life Stories at Lunch. Very special pleasure to have Nigel Benn with us, and I think without any further ado I'm going to hand over to David Waters to interview him. Thank you, David.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Don't worry if I'm obscured by the furniture, that's only a good thing. And as long as you can hear and see Nigel, that's the main thing. Now, Nigel and I met very briefly just before work this morning and just discussed a little bit about what we were going to do, but what really put me back was that Nigel, in your enthusiasm, you fist pumped me twice. My hand felt like a child's. But it's an honour and privilege to speak to you. Thank you so much, Nigel, for giving your time.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
The only problem we have, these events, as you know, are called Life Stories at Lunch. We have one lunchtime and possibly one of the most interesting life stories to try and squeeze it in. So forgive me, we're not going to even scratch the surface of a lot of places, but let me start at the beginning, if I may, Nigel.
Yep.
Ilford boy from Barbadian heritage. How would you describe your childhood?
My childhood was great, growing up with 6 other brothers, no girls, just all boys. I mean, it was great fun. I mean, I thank God that we didn't have a girl, because it would have been an absolute nightmare for her. She would have been there about no boyfriend or nothing. It would have been absolutely, we would have been so protective over her. I was the one that was meant to be wearing frilly knickers, but I'm so blessed that I didn't, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was great. We had a great laugh growing up in the 70s. It was really, if you got up late for breakfast, that was it. It was gone, man. You missed it. You just had to wait for lunch. But you know, I enjoyed my life. Growing up in the 70s was fantastic.
And one of the themes I know we might come back to this morning is the kind of idea of manhood, male role models. Who were those first people in your life, male role models?
My role model was my dad, by far. No one comes close to my dad. To bring up 7 hardcore boys, and you know, he'd done it well. He'd done it, you know, my dad had a saying in Barbados, "You can't hear, you can feel you." And many times I felt, but you know what, I love my dad, yeah, God rest his soul. He was my hero, my dad was.
And I'm imagining some of the scuffles and the fighting between 7 brothers is probably where you kind of got used to being hit a little bit.
Yeah, mostly with street fighting, not with me brothers. We all didn't really fight much, you know what I mean? But it was like, you know, I wouldn't muck around with my brother Danny or John. They're a bit older than me, and much stronger than me, much bigger than me. So most of my fight was done at school. But we didn't really fight much as brothers.
There's this sort of picture again that in your book and elsewhere is a kind of happy chaos, if you like, in that, you know, you've got a 3-bedroom house and all of you guys, but something happened when you were 8 years old.
Yeah, I think that you'll understand from what happened for me at 8 years old. I remember back in 1972, I remember mum screaming as police lights flashing outside. I'm like, "Will you not be quiet down there? We're trying to do an interview here." Just joking. And it was lights all flashing and police cars were in my house, outside my house. Police were inside and my mum was just crying saying, "He's dead, he's dead, he's dead." I was 8 years old, I didn't understand what dead was. I said, dead, what's dead? Then I found out that my brother was killed by racists. He was pushed through a window and he cut in his groin and he bled to death. And my brother, the only way I can describe it was like, I was like Simba and my brother was like Mufasa. You know, he was like my hero with everything about me. And then you see that Simba when he went away. And something was severed in my heart from that at a young age, and my whole life changed. I didn't have no feeling. I started smoking. And you hear how my life just was transformed from that day. And I had a lot of issues to deal with all through from there.
From the loss of your brother?
Yeah.
All the way through your life?
All the way through my life. Until I had an encounter, but we'll get back to that. Yeah.
Next stage. I mean, you weren't an angel as a young person.
And no was you.
Hey, I'm just putting a question.
Yeah, just throw it right back at you, that's all.
How did you know? But you went into the army, and obviously as a boy there's been in a few little scrapes, few encounters with the police. A lot of scrapes. I mean, that could push you one way or the other. You know, some people rebel against that kind of discipline. Was that you in the army?
Do you know, I didn't expect that because my brother John was in the army and everybody loved my brother John. He'd come home back in the 78 or 79 and he used to walk home with his uniform and everyone just like, you know, glad to see him. He just got so much respect. And a lot of people used to say to my mum, maybe some of you other boys should join the army. I thought, oh, I'll give it a go then. And I lasted. I spent 4 years, 256 days in the army. Yeah, I've done my time in there. And I think that was really the making of me.
Really?
The discipline, everything. And I've got some of my old ex-squaddies here, the Fusiliers.
Fantastic.
You know, they're from my old regiment. And yeah, so I owed so much to my career for being in the army.
Well, I was going to say, because that is only in the army. Was that the first time you put on a pair of boxing gloves?
I was always street fighting. But it was really the first time I put on a pair of boxing gloves. And like, if you're good at sport in the army, any kind of sport in the army, they take good care of you. Instead of me getting out of my bed at 4:45 in the morning, I'm getting out of my bed at 9 o'clock while they're all having slop. I'm having steak and salad. I know where my bread was buttered, mate. Yeah, it was a good crack. But you know, then you got the good side, then you got the sad side of the army as well, because we spent 18 months in Northern Ireland and a Ballykelly trip. My guys, a lot of my friends, Copenhagen, Huggins, they all went on the fishing trip. And what they done is they stayed someplace. Barry must have been following them. Took out the front of the dashboard, pack it with high explosives. When they came down in the morning, touched the ignition, blew up, and the only way that Mrs. Huggins can identify her husband was by the wedding ring, which was like 600 meters away from the body.
So, this is, you know, you're what, 20 years old at this point, 21?
20.
Already got that kind of loss. You've already lived life and lost loved ones at that stage. But when you put on that pair of boxing gloves, you know, you're in the army. When was the point when you thought, I might be a bit good at this?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. Listen, it was so funny, when I came out of the army, I wouldn't even think I was a store detective. They're Woolworths for Jubilee. Woolworths.
You must have been the scariest store detective in the world.
And I got it wrong so many times. Like, yeah, I'm watching him, man. Got it wrong again, because once you leave the army, you can get any security job that you want. I used to do cash in transit with Group 4 when they were good. But,
I bet nobody stole pick-a-mix from that Woolworths, ever.
But the fun, we won't even go there. What happened, it was like, because I started boxing in the army, and I never lost a fight in the army. Because I went all the way up, I was only welterweight, like 10 stone, 6 man. I went up to heavyweight just to beat George J, who beat my brother, and then I came back down. That was it. And I thought to myself, well, I was doing like, sometimes when I come out of the army, I was doing like 15-hour shift, like security job. I thought, when I went about that boxing, I thought, maybe I could be Southern Area champion. I might have a shot at the British, because all I wanted was a terrace house like my dad. That's what I wanted, just a terrace house like my dad, because I thought my dad had made it. That's all I wanted. And my BMW, that's all I wanted. I didn't know I was going to be in the Guinness Book of Records, inducted in the Hall of Fame, voted the best super middleweight in history. Hello.
Well, let me come to that.
Okay.
Because, you know, you said, I like your understatement. You thought you might not be. You're looking at security jobs. You might not be bad at boxing. So total fights. Correct me if I'm wrong. 48 wins, 42. First 22 fights. By knockout. Have I told you how much I like you already? But I mean, that is a staggering statistic. And for us kind of mere mortals, forgive this kind of slightly odd question from just an innocent sports fan.
Yeah.
Is it possible to just say how it feels to be the best in the world or something? Did that ever sink in?
Not really. I'll be honest with you, because, like I said, because I don't know how long you got, but a lot of things in my life was messed up. I was addicted to sex, I was addicted to drugs, I had a suicide attempt, nervous breakdown, and a lot of these things affected me through my life because what happened to my brother. And the only way I can explain it was like when them guys killed Martin Lawrence, now I've gone to a whole new level because I'm already messed up about what happened with my brother. Now watch these guys come out of court, all cocky, took somebody's life. Now with me, being an ex-squaddy, I wanted to sit on the top and shoot him. I was so, because it was an innocent black boy that did nothing, the grade 8 student. But it was like, because my dad had a lot of white friends. He never brought us up with anything like that. Even my brother got killed, we was never like that. My dad said, you can't judge a book by its cover. That was my dad. So we never had no racism in our family. And a woman that used to help my mum look after her 7 boys was a gypsy Scottish woman. She looked after me from 6 weeks old. So I had another mother who was white. So we never had no racism in us. That's one thing I hate. If I had black, well, we didn't. If we had black friends that didn't like white people, he can't be in our game. We weren't like that. We was never brought up that. So then when I saw this guy's kill Martin Lawrence and come out, I was just, thoughts were going through my head again. Evil thoughts. And you know that my dad never brought me out that way. So when you talk about being more champion, it was like other things that I wasn't even thinking about boxing. So it was like, it was so many other things going on in my head that I didn't really kind of, it was just a job.
What, really?
Yeah.
Because what were you, with the pun, what were you fighting for? 'Cause Barry McGuigan said of you, first thing you got to know about Nigel Benn, he's not a boxer. But he's not a boxer, he's a fighter. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Oh, mate, I want to get in here and have a war, mate. That's me. I'm an ex-squaddy, mate. I want to have a war. Don't come in. No, that's not me. I want to fight. You want to fight? I'm ready to fight. That's me. I ain't playing. I'm not playing. Don't get me started now, you know.
But I mean, what's that anger driving you when you got in the ring? All those things, your brother Martin Lawrence.
No, but that actually never came into the ring.
Really?
I was just angry, but not through that. That was just like, it was in the back. But you know, see, things like that would then stir it up.
Yeah. And then, obviously there's a few epic fights that...
Oh, come on, mention his name, I don't know.
Okay. Well, first of all, before we get to him, your first loss,
Yeah.
Michael Watson, 1989.
Yeah.
What did that do to you? You won 22 knockouts.
Well, I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Yeah, really. Yeah. Wouldn't you if you had 22 knockouts and 22 wins?
But then for that to come crashing down.
Well, you don't think it's going to come crashing down, do you? Because you think, well, what can Michael Watson do to me? Look what happened to the other 22 fighters. They're all gone. So then it was like, I'll tell you what, how confident I was. Black women would understand this. I went to a hairdresser to get my hair plaited. Not like when English people plait their hair nice. Black people plait your hair. Yeah, see, they're laughing, they understand because your head gets pulled back twice. I went in there, black man, I come out like a Chinese man. What was I thinking? This is like 4 hours before a big fight. I'm getting my hair plaited. Then I go and make this outfit like Gary Glitter, a big sparkling. I shouldn't really mention it around there, should I? But, you know, but you think, wow, what was I thinking? I was so confident. I was just confident, and then I didn't worry. And then, because what happened, the first biggest fight of my life, and it was like, I'm already a quarter of gone because of nervous energy all burning up. And for 4 or 5 rounds, I'm just throwing literally everything at Michael. Michael's hitting me, but his punches are bouncing off. I didn't feel a punch. But now, after round 5, boom, the lights flash and say, you on empty, man. You on empty. And I came back to my corner, God is my witness. My trainer went, this is what he said. Go out there and steam him. So I'm looking in the boxing pamphlet, oh, steam him. I can't find it in here, mate. I know I'm in trouble. Michael just hit me with a jab and I went down. And it was like, you know, it's one thing is when I lost to Michael, completely different to the other man, but we'll talk about that later on. It was like, I just lost to a better fighter. And I remember I came with a big entourage. I left. It was just me and my jockstrap and the changeover. There was nobody there. You could hear a pin drop. It was like you said, it was like the world on my shoulders. It just like, the devil was telling me, see, you're not invincible. And I had to deal with all that. Oh, didn't want to talk to nobody. Oh, get me home, get me home. It was bad, it was bad.
So after that, you went to America.
Yeah, well, after I lost the fight for war, I've got to start again, so I'll just fly off to Miami and train. Oh. That's not too bad, did it?
But you built yourself back up. Then came Mr. Eubank.
Yeah.
I mean, those are still, like, they're just in boxing history forever. 2 fights, 1990, 1993. Well, just for those not boxing aficionados.
Yeah, well, they all know. I'm sure everybody knows that. Can we just move on swiftly?
Yeah.
I'm only joking. No, fighting, I think, with Chris, one thing I've got to give him is he's the sharpest dresser going. Yeah, you know, I've got to give him credit where it's due. He's got the sharpest dress sense, but still ugly. But he's tough. I mean, he's got a, one thing with Chris, he's got like a neck. I mean, it's like, it's powerful. He's got a head. Look at the shape of his head, it's like a mallet. It's just, everything about him is just like, you know, and I mean, I was hitting him, it was just like, ching! And he'd hit me and I'd be shaking all over the place. So he had a joy, just so strong in it.
Do you ever regret there wasn't a third match?
Well, we can talk about that in a minute. Let me just finish because you've just cut me off.
Oh,
you
sorry.
can't do that. You're interviewing me because what happened?
Whatever you say, Nigel.
Thank you very much, sir. What it is, it was like when I lost to Chris, it was like, it was different because when I lost to Michael, it was like just a nice chappy, Michael. He was just a lovely man. You know, you could not. The only thing I was mostly jealous of, he was a very good-looking man. I was a good-looking thing. But with Chris, it's a different thing. But it was like I knew I was going to get it. I just knew it. You know, you walk out, you're ready to shake it, and I knew I was going to get it. Just turn his back on me. It's like him saying, I told you, you couldn't beat me. It's one of them. And I really just wanted to jump on him, batter him, but it was just like, we just had a history. We just didn't like each other. We didn't like each other.
Putting it mildly.
At the time I didn't like it, I couldn't stand him. If I had a gun, I would have shot him to it if I didn't like it. I really didn't. We just didn't see eye to eye. He portrayed that he had this image, you see the difference is, with me, if my sausage fell on the floor, I'll put it on the plate. I don't care about the 5 seconds, it'll be 20 seconds, I'll put the sausage back. Chris is not like that. He tries to pretend that he's got an image that he has to portray. What you see is what you get with me. This is me. There's no airs and graces. This is who I am.
Am I allowed? I'm not cutting you off. Next question.
I'm joking, bro.
But I mean, those things kind of, to a degree, defined your career, but perhaps more than ever, the fight with Gerald McLennan, 1995, I mean, just, I was watching it on YouTube again last night. I mean, it's brutal beyond words. He came from America, the new young thing, he was a massive favourite, and then, but you were on home turf, can you describe what it felt like to walk out? Would you say that's you at your peak, or?
Listen, all my fights, what it was, I was meant to fight a guy called Michael Nunn. Anybody know Michael Nunn? Michael Nunn was a good, slippery southpaw, 6'2". I mean, he was a good fighter. And they said, look, fight Michael Nunn, but take 100 grand off. 100 grand off? Really? I'm world champion. This came through my agent. He said, oh, we're going to bring in mini Mike Tyson. Don't work like that. I'm an ex-squaddy, mate. If I'm going out on my shield. Nobody don't frighten me, mate. I've been hit with pickaxe handles, baseball bat, been slapped by my dad with his hands out, you know. I'm not scared. Did you get slapped by my dad? Your dad? What's happening there, you know? So the difference is, I didn't have that fear. And every one of the papers had me to be knocked out between round 1 to round 3. So it was like, so I thought, the press all backed, and I thought to myself, hold on a minute. You lot don't really know who I am? You really don't? So the difference is, you might ask me about Chris Eubanks Jr., my son, but we're going to get to that. I'll beat you to it, because what happened? When he punched me and he knocked me out in the first round, I went through the ring, I felt all my ligaments in my neck just stretching and went out. I don't really remember the first round, but I got back, and my corner said, look at the state of him, look at him, you got him. I was like, yeah. Really? Really? Oh, okay. So then what's actually happened, if you watch the second round, I'm chasing him around, because what's actually happened now, something in my subconscious that I don't know about, that I've never experienced before in my life. I've gone past thinking, because what happened, he's hitting me now, and I don't feel a thing. You watch me like banging away, and I just don't feel a thing, because now I've gone beyond. I've gone far. I'm not even thinking. I remember I threw a left hand, he put me down, a half punch. When he comes back, he just put me down. I've gone bang, right hand, uppercut, left hook. When you come back from round 9, you got more out. Because what's happened now, I'm not even like thinking. And as you know, after the fight, he came out paralysed, blind, 80% deaf in a wheelchair. I came out with fractured jaw, urinating blood for 3 days in the shadow of my brain. So these are the kind of things that I would not want my son being in a fight with Eubanks' son. Because I know my son is me. And I wouldn't want him to be in a fight where that he goes to that level where he don't even know what he's doing. So the thing that, you know, when his son is a gladiator, and so is my son is a gladiator, and I wouldn't want that fight to happen. Not at all.
I mean, there's so much in what you just said. I mean, first of all, I've got to ask, when your opponent has life-changing injuries like that, how do you cope with that? How did you deal with it at the time, and how do you still think about it now?
How do I deal with it at the time? I didn't care. I had my own issues to deal with, because it was, I know they brought him over here to bash me out, and it was, I was sad that you don't wish that on anybody, you really don't wish that on anybody in the ring, but like I said, I want you to understand that where my mind was for this 8-year-old boy still hadn't changed, because I had issues in my own life that I could deal with, and not just only that, the drug use, the sex use, the addiction, everything that was going through my own mind. It wasn't just like about the fight. That was then, it was completely different now. It was at that time there, it was, my life was messed up. I was just doing things. Boxing was actually taking me away from the place. The training, the boxing actually took me away from the place that I didn't want to be. The pain that I was actually going through the affairs, the drug using, my brother and everything, was all just building up. So the only time I actually had peace was when I went away training in 10 years.
I mean, with that success though, I mean, you've mentioned it so much. That kind of level of money and fame, which presumably at the beginning you didn't even dream of, you just wanted that terrace house.
I just wanted my terrace house, my BMW, be like my dad, and that's it, and I made it. Didn't want nothing else. My dad's got a terrace house, he's made it, I'm gonna be like my dad. That was it.
I mean, I heard a phrase once that stuck with me. Somebody said, easy access to the excess. Did that apply to you? I mean, how bad did that get? I mean, I'm looking through this, there's a picture of you in your first Porsche convertible. There's a chapter called The Orgy. We'll just move on after that. But I mean...
So why did you bring it up there? He's lying, he doesn't want you to start fishing in there. That's
I don't know, is it a family show?
Yeah, no, I don't know going to work.
But I mean...
Concentrate, Nigel Benn. What was he doing?
But I mean, with that level of success, it seemed like you had everything going. You're world champion, you're probably rich beyond your dreams. But were you happy?
No, not really, because it was. I had a wife that I loved. I didn't know understand how to deal with it. I think that was. I think you know what it was. I was just struggling with life and being faithful to my wife. I think that's my biggest upset, and I think that's where I just struggled.
Was there a single point when you were looking back now that you realised it was rock bottom?
I think you know it was with my wife. It was back in '98 that the story came out. She went into the church and she just cried her eyes out. She was in there for about 3 hours, and me and my wife hadn't smoked for about three weeks. And I remember her saying, "If you're real up there, do you want to help me down here?" And she said, "If you're real, I will worship you for the rest of my life." And all she said is that she felt that a rucksack had been taken off her back. Now, she come home ready to speak to Satan's right-hand man. She knocked on the door, and this is what she said. "Jesus said it's going to be all right." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, right." Because I had no knowledge about who Jesus was. All I knew about working with Satan as the right-hand man, because everything I'd done lined up with his word. And so what happened, she started reading his, oh Moses, yes, he was the one in the basket on the river, yeah, okay. So she became a Christian. Now she had an encounter right there and then, and her life changed like that. But with me it was a different thing. I'd go to church with her, she'd lift her hand, I think, oh, that's what you do, okay. So I'm just following her. And then, for years, I thought I was a Christian. But you can't follow your wife. You have to confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord. With your own mouth. I can't follow my wife. And we were having a lot of Bible studies, we were having big Christian parties at my house and everything, and garden parties. It was brilliant. But yet, I still had the spirit of the other person. I didn't have no God in me. Because then we left there, we moved to Mallorca, and then I was continuing to have more affairs. But then, I was learning more about God's word. And then in Galatians 6:7 it said, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man will reap what he sows." I thought, what does that like me? And I was having Bible studies and everything. And then, I've got a long scripture now. It says 1 John 1:5. God is light, in him is no darkness. If we say we have fellowship with him, but yet walk in darkness, we lie and do not practice the truth. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, cleanses us from all, I'll explain it in a minute, cleanses us from all our sins. But if we say we have not sinned, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us. But the point that I'm getting to, but he says, if we confess, he is faithful and righteous to forgive us. So, and I was sitting down there having Bible study with my teacher, and I went, I've been having an affair. I didn't even want to say it. And I said it. And she said, have you told your wife? Oh Lord. Listen. I said, no. She said, well, you better go home and tell your wife. listen, you've got to understand, for this 8-year-old boy now, I've been a liar, I've been a cheat, I've been a thief, I've been everything. And now I'm walking down this long corridor to tell my wife about things. If you ever see a black man turn white, you should have seen me that day. I'm telling you, because now all the colour is drying out of me, because now I've got to face up to it. And, oh, thank you, Lord. 3 days before, my wife were having a women's meeting, Bible studies, and my wife used to have she's got a big, oh, she's here anyway. Where's Cal? Where? She here? Right, and she's got a big diamond ring, but she don't wear it. She's kept it in the shoe, in the cupboard, because our church was in a wealthy church, so she kept it in there. But God spoke to her clearly to put the ring on her finger, and He said He's going to make your diamond, make your marriage as clear as a diamond on your finger. And all the girls are going, oh, but they didn't know what was coming. No word of this, I'm telling you the truth. It's not one little story, but I'm telling you the truth. So then, now I'm confessing everything to my wife. I said, Caroline, I've been cheating on you for 16 years. I've been using drugs, I've been using everything. I told her literally everything. And she said, you're mad, just shut up. But she said, all she heard is like, God said, let him speak. So I told her about everything. I just said, well, she threw a couple of punches, good shots, nearly as strong as Chris. But then she kicked me out of the house. I left my house and now I went to live with my pastor. But I know God was showing me something that by me confessing, I left my house. I left this 8-bedroom mansion on top of a hill, went to live with my pastor for 1 year. Me and my wife never had communion for 1 year. And all I done, they stripped me of who I was. They took my Porsche away, took my Cadillac away. The only car I was allowed to drive was a 35-year-old E-Reg Escort with wind-down windows. Listen, in Mallorca, listen. Stripped me all my Versace, Moschino, everything. The clothes that I had to wear, I had to get them out of a second-hand shop and out of plastic bags. And it was so funny, you got to understand. God made me petrified. This 65-year-old woman battered me from pillar to post. I was petrified of her. I thought to myself, not too long ago, I was knocking men out for a living, easy. And yet, Miguel and Pastor Cheryl, it was like, her husband was like Miguel, he was like from 40 Towers, lovely man. But Cheryl, man, she was hard. I used to have to clean the old dog mess, didn't even have a dog, clean the old dog mess. I had to do all the washing, but she stripped me of everything. And the only thing that I was allowed to watch in the house for a whole year was Little House on the Prairie. I'm not joking. I got session 1 up to session 10. I've got them all. But what it was taking down and helping me deal with a lot of the issues that I went through. So I never realized that everything I went through all started from my brother. The death of my brother, I never actually dealt with all these things. So a lot of things that I went through was because of the death of my brother. I was able to learn to deal with these kind of things that I never would have. Like I said, I started smoking at the age of 8, doing drugs, everything. But soon I had an encounter with him. Listen, my whole life changed. And we repaired our marriage. Now we've been together 26 years now. And the funny thing about it, my wife couldn't have babies naturally. Connie in India did IVF. And lo and behold, Layla and Levi, I wish they were here, I would have shown you beautiful kids. It reminds me of Mowgli, my son. But they come along naturally. And God just so my whole life is changed because I had an encounter with Jesus. I'm faithful to my wife, and I could not be more happier now. All of the life that I'm living now, I'm so blessed and honored and privileged to take me out of that pit, to help me deal with all the issues that I would never have dealt with.
Wow.
Oh, you can come in now.
I just fascinated by that image of this 65-year-old female pastor. This is the guy that you faced.
No, woman. Cheryl.
Yeah.
Yeah, when a man, it was a woman, Cheryl. She was the one that, wow. Yeah, she was hard, but she had to be hard. She done things for me that, you know, that it was just so hard, but the difference is what I needed.
Is that, I was going to say,
it's
like,
what I needed.
but here's this, like, 2-time world champion, like, millionaire kind of...
No, I'm not a millionaire.
Well,
my wife is. She got the kids.
But like all that things that we would see as success and kind of fearsome, and I talk about like male role models and things like the ultimate kind of alpha male, and yet this 65-year-old woman is kind of completely stripped. Is that what you needed? Was
I needed that because, you know, everything that I'd done was all about me, about who I was. It's not about, like, you know, now I'm in a position, it's all about serving. As I live in Australia, it's all about serving people. You know, the things that I do now in Australia, I don't know if you want to go there? Because what I do now, me and my wife, we both work for Hillsong Church voluntary, but what we do is, I go around like where I go to hospital, pray for people going through chemotherapy, sometimes blood transfusion, dialysis, some go through, what's it called? Not cancer, not dementia. Struggling with that one, wouldn't I? There's a lot of issues, and what we do is not only that I deliver a lot of food to people that who ain't got food. Like with Hillsong Church, what we do is we call Kilo of Love, where we go out, people that ain't got food, that got kids that struggling, that belong to the church, and I go and deliver food. Oh, there's June, who's like an old woman from Yorkshire who I met out there, and who I met through church, and she comes around my house, I cook for her, or I take food around there. So that's my life now, where we just go and pray, or we help people that are struggling with marriage, you know. So that's where my life is now. That's the blessing. There's no comparison with boxing and what I do now, absolutely nothing, because everything was all about me. But the place that I'm at now is about helping and about serving the community. And I love that more than anything else. Because I have peace. It feels like I come home and I've done something and say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve the community, instead of me about, what shirt or what suit am I going to buy? What might mean nothing, but being able to go and serve the community, help people, and deliver food. You're using me. Me, thank you. I feel blessed and honoured and privileged. You know, all I want to talk about is Jesus. I don't care about my career. I know you want to dive into that, but it's all about Him.
You don't care? I mean, after all that career, you don't?
No, because you know what? Me winning world titles and that ain't going to get me into heaven. But me having a relationship with Jesus, and I think people don't understand really. Let me explain and try and weigh it in synopsis like this. I try and weigh it up. Because when we all live here, where are we all going? Listen, where are we all going? People think, well, I don't really believe in hell. Well, let me explain it, try and weigh it this way. If there's a God, there must be a devil. If there's a demon, there must be an angel. If there's a left, there must be a right. If there's a happy, there must be a sad. If there's time, there must be eternity. If there's a heaven, there must be a hell. You have to have an opposite. You have to have an opposite of everything. If you're happy, it's got to be sad. There's got to be an opposite. There's got to be an opposite of everything that we do, and the difference is God doesn't want none of us to go to hell. And it said in John 3:16, for God so loved the world. It didn't say, I just love Christian. For God so loved the world, He sent His only one and begotten Son. Whoever believes in Him will not perish but have eternal life. And that's what it's all about when we leave here. Where are we going? I'm like, I'm already booked. That's all I'm worried about. And so it's giving me the opportunity to come in and just tell. Because if you understand when we read scripture, I can either go one way and tell them like what Jesus done for you on the cross. I can say, all right, I don't really get that. All right, then let me just tell you. When you leave here, you can either go to heaven or hell. And when you go to hell, it's called a place of torment that you can't get out. It's fiery and it's hot. Jesus, you look so good. So, and I'm being honest, it might make it a joke, but it's truth. When we leave here, where are we going? You can either believe it or not. But the funny thing about just by accepting Jesus as your life, I mean, I was addicted to everything, you know. But Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, he said, come to me, all you are weary and heavy laden. He said, I will give you rest. The peace that his peace that surpasses all understanding. And it's real. Let me tell you, it's real, because I didn't believe in him. But I had an encounter with him that changed my life. I used to have a filthy mouth. I start reading God's word and said Ephesians 29, Ephesians 4:29 said, let no unwholesome word proceed forth from your mouth. He said that. I was angry. I went to James 1:20. It said, be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to anger, for the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. So, a lot of things I struggle with. I mean, look, it says if someone slaps you in the cheek, give me the other cheek also. I'm working on that. but that's it, I'm working on it, you know, and pray for those who hate you. Love those who persecute you. But these are the things, that's the God that I serve, that I love. And you know what, and I think, well, as it says in 1 John 2:6, it says, if we say we abide in him, we ought to walk in the same manner as him. He's my role model. He's my role model. Nobody comes before Jesus. It's Jesus, my wife, and then the church. That's how it rolls.
Wow. There's so much we could talk about. I want to give a chance for anybody to put a question from the floor. I've also got some questions that have come via Twitter and Facebook already. But can I put it out there now for anybody who wants to ask a question? There's been just 5 minutes.
How do you get on with Chris Eubanks now? Did you see him at all?
Next question. I think, you know what it is? I think what you see me, this is who I am. There's no airs and graces. I'm just a normal boss like anybody here. But the difference is, it's just, you see the difference is, you know, he's gonna, he's an image that I just can't relate to him. With me and you, we can sit down and have a nice cup of Yorkshire tea or something, and I'll have a good chat with you. Regardless, anybody in here, and I will sit down here and I'll have a good chat with you. And you'll see me for who I am. But with him, I try to talk with him. It's like, he talks gobbledygook. I've got no problem with him because I don't really see him, but I just wish him all the best. Him and his son, got no problems with that, mate.
I just wonder if it's like a facade with him, and there's like, beneath that, there's a nice guy trying to get out. You know?
I think, you know what it is, I think what you're saying, I think Chris is a nice guy. I think, you know, he's just maybe he has issues in his life that he ain't dealt with, or maybe it's just like he can't change and be himself because now how he's portrayed himself, which has worked really good for him. I don't think, but I've got no problem with him, but I just think like what you said, there's a facade that's not him, but all I know in my heart that he's ruining his son's career because, listen, he could afford Joe Saunders, got about 2-3 million, could afford Triple G, get another 3 million, now he's a multi-millionaire. He said, no, telling Eddie Hearn that, well, no, we can charge this for the tickets. These are promoters that have been around for years, and Chris is trying to run the show. That's why everything fell through. And he's ruined his kid's career, and now he was meant to fight for the British title for about 200-300 grand, but that pulled out because he said, I'll give the belt up. Listen, when you win a belt, you don't give that up. You say, anybody want my belt, he's going to have to fight me for it. You don't just give it up. So what he's done in the last 2 years, he's just ruined his son's career. He should pull away. Because what he's trying to do, he's trying to live off his son, but he's doing it all the wrong way. And you know what it is? It's one of them things that, you know, my son said to me, what day was it? My son said to me about 3 days ago, Dad, if you do what he did, you got to go. I said, I would expect you to kick me out, son. But, you know, so I don't trouble my son, let my son do something. When he read it ring, he said, Dad, help me about paying the tax, who should I get, blah, 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 blah. And I tell him what to do. That's about it. I let him do what he wants to do. Yeah, should you be there with him? No. Because sometimes I want my son to go through the school of hard knocks so he learns. But my son, He's a mature 20-year-old. He's very mature. He knows that me and Mum are just there if he needs us. But that's it. Live your life, son. Live it right. The only two things I tell him what to do: pay your taxes and don't sleep about, because that's what happened to me, and it can ruin you. I don't want him doing that. That's the only thing. Two things I don't want him to do. Ladies first.
Ladies.
Thank you. So, two questions. How long have you been?
No, you can only have one. Sorry.
Oh, you got three.
Okay.
How long have you been a Christian? And as a Christian now, how do you feel about the world of boxing?
No, world of boxing's not changed. That's boxing. I don't, because we see an injury happen. There's more injuries, racehorsing, right? Car racing, rugby. But because like boxing, they just pick it out. I don't feel nothing. It's a sport that I love, very passionate. And when you go into a sport like that, it's a contact sport. So I love boxing. Next question. What do I think about?
How long have you been a Christian?
How long? 41, 53. Yeah.
12 years.
12 years. 12 years.
And firstly, how close were you to really having the third fight?
Listen.
Was that?
You can ask listen, I could bring my agent would vouch for me. We're talking about now, we're not talking about, we're talking like now. We had, we've been talking about for the last 3 years. Mark is actually when I moved to Australia, so we're in the 4th year now. So what it was, we was talking about it, and he got these guys from Dubai, multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, that fell through. Then he got, from Manchester, boohoo.com, you ever heard of them? Right, he had them behind him, support. That fell through. So then we got guys from Northern Ireland, the island or Northern Ireland? Southern Ireland? Yeah. Right, so, and who was ready to put up between 5 and 10 mil each at Wembley Stadium. And I finally went to another brother and said, look, boom, fight done, it's fine, yeah, boom, let's go. Not Chris. Really, Chris? I've never met an eccentric black man in all my life until I come across Chris. He's out there, way out there. It's like, and people must think, yeah, but you're past it. Listen, you go and watch me on YouTube, I'm not past it, I'm more fitter now. If I could, listen, let me explain this quick. If I can be inducted to Hall of Fame and in the Guinness Book of Records and voted the best superwoman on 20 fags a day working for Satan, how do you feel I'm going to feel if I'm working with Jesus? There's no comparison. Yeah. Since he's come in my life, I'm clean, I'm more fitter now than I ever have. And I mean, Chris, 5 or 10 mil each, but with me, that's like that's 10, $20 million, because it's like double that in Australia. But, it's being honest with you, it's not really about money with me, because I think mostly, I know I bless my church with a lot of millions, because that's where I am. It's not about, never been about me and money, but I just about blessed the whole church for what they done.
Still got the passion inside.
Oh, the passion, yeah, the passion. It's not even about the money, it's about that passion I have for him.
Second question.
Oh, no, you're going to go. Because you had to.
Was you mentioned about Conor, and you really won't want that fight for him with Eubank Jr. Have you ever spoke to him about that? Has he ever talked to you about the potential?
It went one's 20 and one's 26. So hopefully Connor's going to be on the way up when he be out, hopefully.
Right.
I wouldn't really want it because I know Connor.
Yeah.
Connor is me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want it because I've been there. Because because it's one of the things that where I could end up having a heart attack. You don't know what. It's bad enough watching him. Well, I don't even watch it. I'm staying in Australia. I can't watch it. So I've been fighting like someone like Chris's son. I don't know. I don't feel. No. Yeah, I wouldn't want that because I want Chris Jr. to do well. I don't, I want to have a great career, but I don't really want to be with my son. Anyone else?
Anyone else? We've really got to wrap it up, I'm afraid. I've got one question from Twitter. Well, I've got lots of questions from Twitter, but perhaps this is a good one to end on. In all your life, what's the most important decision you've made?
Oh, it's far easy. My decision to make was my account, which is nothing comes close. Nothing comes close. Not even my wife. Not even my. There's no comparison. Like I said, Jesus, wife, and church. But when I'm saying like Jesus and my wife, there's still a long gap completely. There's, because I think because of what he's done in my life now, my marriage, because without him, we ain't married. I must be living in my car. But because of what he's done, he's kept us together. And for me, confessing all the things, our marriage is more stronger than ever because of him. Blessed am I. Lady, sorry.
Well, I was going to ask you, after everything that you went through in your marriage, aside from the encounter in Jesus, practical things, what has really kept your marriage together?
Making love. I think, but it's a lot of things because it's different. Oh, no, I don't even want to go down that road. See, you brought that up. It's not coming out. No, do you know what it is? It's having Jesus Lord of my life. It helps me in all arenas of my life. How about love making? How to treat my wife? It's all about him. It's about what the good book says. How I treat my wife. How I talk to my wife. So it's not just about it has to be based on him. Because otherwise, if it's not based on him, it ain't gonna work. Even though that sometimes she's in the wrong, I still have to say, honey, okay, what's the problem? Instead of me saying, it's your fault, you're the one that. That's all changed because of what it says. It says in Ephesians 5, husbands, love your wife. Not once did it say, wives, love your husband. It says, husbands, love your wife. And the love that he's talking about is called an agape love, which is an unconditional love. So by me loving my wife according to his word, I'm a blessed man. Because if I'm not loving my wife, as Jesus said, and I'm trying to love her like, she ain't going to follow me. She's not going to do what I say, but if I love her according to God's word, as it says in 1 Peter 2:6, if we say we abide in him, we ought to walk in the same manner as him. Now, if I'm walking like Jesus, my wife is going to be following me. Follow me. But if I'm walking like the other person, smoking spliffs, I ain't following you. You leading me to hell. She ain't going to follow me. But if I walk that way, I'm going to have a happy home. I say happy wife, happy life. Thank you.
If I can, I'm just going to ask, and I want this to be a quick answer, I know it might not be, but
when talking too much.
To your children, to the kind of young men of society that, there seems to be such a problem with it. It's not just young men, of course, but I know you work with young men now and mentoring and things like that. What's the advice that you give, and maybe what can we take back to our desks and workplaces and things like this after this?
Well, Simon over there, we're putting on a big venue at Stoke City Football Ground, a 27, called about Men United. It's about men really standing up. And because I know for a fact there's a lot of men that are struggling with the walks of life. And we want to try and show them that there's a solution. There's a solution. And just by, it's like God said, by the words of their testimony. Through my testimony is being able to go to them and that there is a way. Because I was struggling. I didn't know where I was going. 2 places, 6 foot under in a mental hospital. So I want a lot of these men to stand up to guide their kids. Not with that disciplined hand and then cussing them and swearing. That don't get nowhere. But being able to love their kids and understand their kids so that the kids see that their dad is loving them in the right way and helping these men that are struggling with marriages, with everything. So it's getting these men to just stand up so that they're good role model to their kids. The kids weren't born like that. Kids were not born like that. It's like, what seed has these dads sown into their kids? And we're trying to show them that, that there's a better way. to treating your wife, treating your kids, or treating to everybody, every human being. So really and truly it's about finding the right way of bringing up your kids and loving your kids and loving your wife.
And that event you mentioned, 27th of May next year, Stoke City Stadium, but for anything else, I know you're hanging around a little bit, but for now, can we just say a huge thank you, everybody, to Nigel Benn.
Thank you very much. Thank you.